right, guys, welcome back to Days of Darkness and welcome to The Many Faces of Leatherface. We did this a couple months back for Jason Voorhees, and for those of you who aren't familiar with the concept, essentially what we're going to be doing today is just looking at the different appearances of the character Leatherface throughout the many films that he's been a part of. These are not how I feel about like the movies themselves. If you want that, go back on the channel. I did an entire series review of this. But, you know, I'm a big aesthetics guy, and horror is a big aesthetics genre for sure. So I always like, you know, just going over the different costumes and, you know, the Leatherface character, much like the movies themselves, has gone through varying degrees of quality, to say the least. He has definitely been through some rough patches and through some really good ones. But they're all ugly, obviously, since he is not the most aesthetically pleasing guy in the world. Kick it off with the one that started it all, man. And I'll just say right now, we're already at my favorite. That first mask that appears in the original film is by far my favorite Leatherface mask of all time. I don't see it ever changing. This mask, there's something about it. I know obviously this is a lower budget film, but the way they did this, man, you know, the stitched together skin, it looks old and dried out and fucking flaky. It just looks fucking disgusting and disturbing, and like some of the shots they get with this thing are just absolutely incredible. That one right there being the one that scarred me as a child. But yeah, I think the world of this one. It just, you know, it's cheap looking for sure, but there's just something so goddamn scary about it to me. Obviously, that's not the only one he wears in this one. He wears the grandma suit as well, or the mom suit, whatever you want to say. It's cool. We don't get enough of it, really, for it to be anything remarkable to me, but it does kind of do a good job of showing his where he stands within the family and how fucked up the Sawyer family is. And then from there, we get the pretty lady costume. To me, while it's not my favorite of the film, like I said, that does go to the first mask/costume. This one is just as iconic, man. That scene of him, you know, dancing around at the very end of the film, just swinging his chainsaw, just deliriously fucking dancing in anger and rage as Sally rides off in the back of that truck, man. Fucking iconic stuff. And then, you know, the whole dinner scene that, you know, is the whole reason he's wearing this. It's fucking scary, man. It is one of the scariest Leatherface masks, and it's a damn shame that they butcher it later on, which we will get into when we get in there. But that is the original Texas Chainsaw. And then we get into part 2, and already we are getting into some mixed feelings. I don't hate this mask. I don't loathe it or anything like that. To me, it just looks kind of hokey. I mean, that, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is a very hokey, very cheesy film, and Leatherface is a direct reflection of that here. I like the fact that it's all stitched together and fucked up, but it just, to me, man, it doesn't match that original scare factor, especially since they were really trying to pattern it off of my favorite mask. To me, it just doesn't quite hit the mark. Like I said, I don't hate this one, but it could have been better. But speaking of mixed feelings, we have Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Not talking about the movie itself, because I think the movie fucking blows. But this mask it's fine. You know, it's okay. I really don't have a whole lot to say about it. It doesn't hold a candle to any of the masks previous. I definitely think this is the worst one so far, but we will see shortly that it's far outdone as far as shittiness is concerned. But, you know, I like the fact that it looks a little more like dead, rotting skin on his face. They definitely did a good job making it look like decaying skin and stuff like that, but at the same time, it just doesn't have that iconic look to it. Looks very almost polished sometimes, which is a weird thing to say for a dead skin mask, but overall, you know, I don't hate it or anything like that. It is what it is. But I will say, as far as masks that I fucking hate, we have the Next Generation. What the fuck were they thinking with this thing, dude? It looks like a fucking baseball glove with hair. It looks terrible. I don't understand how. I mean, I don't understand how this movie got made in general and released and approved by studios and shit like that. I mean, I know the backstory of this movie's release, but anyways, goddamn, this thing just looks fucking atrocious. It does not resemble dead skin at all. Just fucking awful. And then, of course, we get the infamous mask from this movie. I fucking hate this thing, and it has nothing to do. I don't mind the Leatherface character exploring cross-dressing, or however you want to even say it. I don't mind that aspect of the character. It's been around since the very beginning. But this thing doesn't even look like a dead skin mask. It looks like a fucking just Spirit Halloween mask that he put on. It just looks god-awful. But then we get into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake from 2003, and goddamn, I fucking love this thing, dude. This mask just rules. Everything about it really, really screams. Much for the reason why I like these films in general. It feels like the original, but it's different. It's not. They're not just trying to pattern themselves and do the same exact thing. I love how just gritty and fucking stitched up and fucked up this mask looks. Like right there, you get a really good reflection of it and just how he really Frankensteined this fucking thing together. Even all the hair patterns being different and shit. I think this thing looks fucking great. What doesn't look great, unfortunately, is the mask. I believe the character's name is Kemper, and he cuts off his face and wears it at a certain part of the movie. This just looks fucking stupid. I don't like this at all. I like more when the masks look fucked up and stitched up and shit. And that just doesn't do it for me. But we do get the first ever appearance of an unmasked Leatherface, and they went in the direction of him having a skin-eating disease, which I'm not really a big fan of. But, it's cool. It's just a dude without a nose. But then we go to the beginning. And I love the idea of Leatherface having a literal leather strap mask for before he starts, cutting people's faces off and shit. Looks fucking creepy, man. Very, very ominous looking, but it does not beat a good old-fashioned dead skin mask. And much like the previous film, I think they knock it out of the park here. I love just the shots they get with this thing, man. He looks so fucking creepy. This is up there with my favorite Leatherface masks. Everything from how the hair looks to having that big-ass fucking gash on the cheek. This thing fucking does it for me, man. I love this one. But, unfortunately the remakes did not continue, and we got this. This is in the beginning of Texas Chainsaw 3D. It is their take on the Pretty Lady mask, and I really don't think I have to say anything. It looks like a bloated Ronald McDonald. Moving on. So the actual masks in Texas Chainsaw 3D are pretty good. I think these masks really depend on the shots that you get. Like, this one looks fucking really cool. But then you get it in lighting like this, where it just looks goofy as shit. There are aspects of this mask that don't work for me. I think the hair looks kind of odd and shit, but overall, I do like the appearance of this, and like when it's in good shots, I think it looks really cool. It's just very spotty, man, and it's a mask that is really sensitive to how you angle it and stuff like that. I do like the fact that it looks all stretched out and shit. It's alright. It ain't bad. Then we go on to Leatherface 2017. I love the idea of when he's a kid, he wears like severed cow heads and shit, and just kind of developing that initial interest, which would then later on lead to him cutting people's faces off, and the rest is there. I figured I'd throw this guy on there because it is technically a face of Leatherface. We're supposed to believe that this is Leatherface. I'm not buying it, but moving on. So, at a certain point near the end of the movie, he does get half of his face fucking blown off, so they're going with the disfigured route again in this one, which is whatever, but he has to wear these straps on his face until the wounds heal, or else his face is going to fall apart, which is a fine idea, but you know, it kind of lends itself to the problem with this whole movie is it's entertaining, but it does not do a good job at all of being a Leatherface origin story. Just, you know, it's not my bag. We do get a dead skin mask at the end, which is the first bald dead skin mask I've ever seen. And, you know, it's not shown enough for me to really judge it. But then we get the Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. And if I had to sum up this one, it would be droopy. This is a very droopy fucking mask. You know, I understand what they were trying to do with it. You know, it's obviously it's cut off of an old woman and it's trying to reflect Leatherface's age and the fact that he's much older in this movie. They didn't really try to show his age in any other way in this film at all because he is still just as spry as ever. And, you know, me personally, like I said before, I like a more stitched together, more Frankensteinian looking Leatherface mask. But it is what it is. It's very middle of the road for me. But for now, that is where we wrap up as far as the many faces of Leatherface are concerned. You know, I'm sure in a couple years this video will be outdated and we'll have more Texas Chainsaw to talk about. But until then, that'll do it. And next time on Days of Darkness, we are going to be taking a look at Army of Darkness. We're going to go back to the traditional movie reviews. I just thought we'd, you know, take a fun little break. But yeah, man, be looking forward to that. And guys, thank you as always for joining me, coming by, supporting the channel. You know, I say it every time and I'll never stop saying it because I am truly, truly grateful for all the support. And yeah, man, without further ado, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and for the love of all things gory, keep watching horror. All right, guys, you have a good day.